now.
Welcome to another episode of Not Another Sports Show with B Lee and JG. B Lee,
So
what's
what's
up,
up?
man? What's going on?
Not much, man. Ready to get into these topics.
Let's hit it.
All right. So the first one is who can stop the Brooklyn Nets?
Who can
Well,
stop the Brooklyn Nets?
just watching. I know they beat the Lakers without their second and third best player, and Kevin Durant, wasn't playing. But it's going to be hard for the Nets to actually beat the Lakers in the playoffs because the playoffs is different. It's a different beast. The regular season, not too many teams prepare for most teams. That's why you always see the Bucks steamrolling everybody. That's why you always see like other teams who do good in the regular season, like the Suns before. They used to steamroll people, but once they get to the playoffs, they could barely make it to the second round. And I think the 76ers is going to be a tough matchup for them because they got,
Uh,
Joel Embiid. Can't nobody on that team stop him at all. I know can't nobody stop their three guards, but it's going to be a lot different sharing the ball between them when you have, a set offense and, you
mhm.
get better prepared and they're just going to have to pick their matches throughout the games. Like, who are you going to focus more on? Like, for instance, when Detroit beat Detroit beat the Lakers in 2004. Like they focused on triple teaming Kobe and left Shaq one on one because they knew that Kobe wasn't going to pass the ball. So one of the East teams need to figure out like who are we going to focus on to disrupt the whole flow, and that person might be Kyrie. They might have to focus on him to see. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if I don't think Kyrie's going to come out like Kobe, just want to shoot every time. So it's going to be different because you need to isolate Durant to make sure that he doesn't get as many touches. James Harden is settled into that point guard role, and Kyrie is like the scorer. So it's going to be a tough mountain to climb with the Nets, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the dynamic of that team, that three, that top three is something to to mess with. But I look at it the opposite way of how Golden State was, and the way their team basically fit. You know,
Oh, they
they
those gonna
they
say fit
they fit.
perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
fit
fit perfectly.
perfectly. Well, with these guys, you have three, one-on-one ISO players. James Harden has proven himself to be, a person that will pass the ball, a willing passer. But I still think that team goes where Kevin Durant takes it. So if someone wants to beat them, they're gonna have to focus on, trying to get him out of the game, or put the focus, basically put the focus on Kevin Durant, and kind of get in Kyrie Irving's head a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I think it's at. You gotta
yeah.
somehow isolate Kyrie Irving from that team. And
I
that's
mean,
the
he
only way.
he does it himself. It's just it needs to be amplified because
Yeah.
he's gonna isolate himself. I mean, he's been doing it. It's just, and the thing about the regular season, I don't like the regular season because everyone puts emphasis on the regular season, and then when the playoffs come, I mean, it's a totally different animal. Like,
Just like Giannis.
yeah, everyone loves, when the Lakers lose, it's like they
Uh,
make a big deal out of every
mhm.
loss. They make a big deal out of it. It's like, come on, man, it's
I
regular
think
season.
it's been LeBron's whole career, like most of LeBron's career, because they really think that certain players never lost a game. If LeBron lose a game, well, Jordan would have never lost that game, or Kobe would have never lost that game. Like you realize the Bulls went 72-10. They lost 10 games.
Right. I mean, yeah, regular season game, you're gonna lose regular season games. Um, you're gonna lose regular season games, but putting that emphasis on it is crazy. Um, but yeah, they definitely have they have a great team. They don't have a bench, so it's gonna be
That's the
hard.
thing. That's the thing. They don't have a bench like those Golden State teams. they had players to come in off the bench that could hold their own. But their starting five is they're they've been beating everybody, even without Durant, even without like they really never play together. But two of those players, they really beat everybody.
Basically.
I mean, it's pretty amazing how they have been beat everybody. And
Yeah.
they have lost versus the scrubs, versus
Yeah.
the teams that's not that great. And it looks bad because they give up 130, 140 points. Like it's really bad. But then they'll go and stop the Clippers by holding them to like 85 points. So it's like the Heat. Heat was a terribly put together team. They had three players and a bunch of people that nobody wanted that could shoot wide open shots at the most. But their second year, they were able to actually get people who wanted to come in and play. So who knows if it, even though the Heat made it to the finals their first year because of they were just overwhelmingly talented, more talented than everybody. And that's what we're seeing with the Nets. They're just overwhelmingly more talented scoring than everybody, and it's going to be hard to stop them. And the only way it's going to stop them if you have to disrupt what they're doing. And it's not like disrupting them on the court; it's disrupting them in a different type of way, something that no one has done. They somehow need to disrupt them.
I think the 76ers, has the firepower. I mean, you look at that team, man. They got a good team, and I feel like they might be the team that's going to take them out. If someone takes them out, it might be them.
I always been thinking about how the Heat. To me, the most dangerous team in the East is the Heat. To me, they're still the most dangerous team to me is the Heat. I know everyone thought it was a fluke that they made it to the finals, but their like chemistry is like perfect. They have the perfect chemistry. They have the shooters. They have the point guards. They have the guy who, when you need to have a big game, he can have a big game. Like the guy basically outplay LeBron James in a finals game, and rarely does that really happen. Like someone outplays LeBron in a finals game. He couldn't do it the next day because he was exhausted playing like LeBron. But Jimmy Butler can, step up to the task. They're amazingly coached. Their defense is great. They knock down shots. They got Tyler Hero and they got Duncan Robinson, and none is a scorer. The Heat, to me, is
Man,
probably the
I just
best
feel
matchup
like
for them.
I just feel like I just feel like people gonna figure them out. I just feel like last year it was kind of like an anomaly a little bit. Like it was basically like an unknown, with Duncan Robertson and Tyler Hero. Like, we knew that they could play, but no one saw them doing what they did in the playoffs yesterday. Like, no one could have predicted that team was going to do what they did in the playoffs last year. So I think no one's going to be caught off guard by the things that they can do this time around. And I think more teams are going to be ready for, what they have to offer. Now, can they adjust and find different ways to win outside of relying on Jimmy Butler? That remains to be seen. But I still feel like the 76ers, like it has to be a time where they're gonna finally get over that hump. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I feel like they're gonna have to figure out a way to get over the hump and to finally get that signature victory that we all as basketball fans feel like they are talented enough to get. So that now is a perfect time as any for them to go ahead and step up, and they have a solid squad. Um, it's the time. Everybody's focused on Brooklyn. It's the perfect time for them to come through and show everyone what they're made of.
Yeah, You know, when the Heat got to the finals last year, you know, I said the same thing. They just caught people off guard, but they were undermanned versus the Lakers, and the
Hmm.
way that they played the Lakers, I was like, this team is like legit. Yeah, I think the Heat legit. The 76ers is probably the best team in you know the East, and the Nets gonna have the hardest time with them. And I even think the Bucks can cause the Nets problem because if you're not able to stop someone going to the rim like they can't stop the point guards, the point guards have a field day on them. How you gonna stop Giannis from running up and down the court and dunking? That's the only like those are the three teams that could give them trouble is the Bucks, the 76ers, and the Heat. Because if you letting everyone, you know, score at least 30 on you, Giannis is gonna have a field day if you can't stop him. And you know, Kevin Durant might have to guard him, and that puts Kevin Durant in foul trouble. And that's the best recipe going far to hold the Nets down. So it's going to be tougher for them in the East. I know that everyone thinking they're like the best team in the league now, but playoffs is just a different beast. Ask the Clippers.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in to Not Another Sports Show on the Blue Chippers podcast. For more content, check out our other shows and subscribe to the Blue Chippers podcast on YouTube. Follow us on Not Another Sports Show 2021 on Instagram and Twitter.